Welcome to the advanced course of Learn Feng Shui program with John Sandifer and with me, Thierry Van Dort. Thank you very much for taking the plunge and for coming on this next stage of the adventure with us. John and I have spent a good couple of weeks going through everything that you're going to learn in over the next few hours. I would say it's definitely a few hours, isn't it, John?
Definitely a few.
There's plenty of information there, and I'm going to obviously, we hope you've done the introductory course. If you haven't done the introductory course yet, we would highly recommend that you do. Although we'll be covering some things over again in this module, it would be definitely very, very useful if you haven't done it for any reason to go ahead and do that, because it will give you a fantastic foundation that I think you'll actually need before you can come on to do this.
I agree, yeah.
So I'm going to hand over to you now, Mr. Sandifer. We've got this new ModCon kit.
Absolutely.
Gone into the whiteboard and the markers and things, and now John is able to draw on a piece of equipment that'll come up live on the screen here. We've got loads of information, background information, and obviously on every single page on the website that you're looking at the moment, you'll be able to download the course notes for each and every module as well, and there is a load of information there. So if at any point you do get confused, the wonder of this actual module and this course is that you can just go back, you can watch it again until you understand, and if you're still unsure, just read the course notes, because they have been written in such a way that it really, really simplifies everything. So John, what are we going to cover in this advanced module?
Yeah, wonderful. And I'm really thrilled that you're here to continue this journey. You've done the introductory course and you're brave, you're back for more.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
I think the big thing, as you've already pointed out, is really get the fundamentals in place. The fundamentals are know your yins and yangs, know your 5 elements, know your trigrams, and as long as you're kind of in league with those and understand those, done that review, then to now move on, because the game's going to warm up a bit further. Yeah,
and what I would also suggest you do is take all of the notes that you recorded in that first module and or that you printed out, and stick them into a nice binder, you know, section by section. So if John's referring to the 5 elements and you think, oh, what did that look like? You know, what clashed with what? Although we will cover a lot of it off, you've just got something you can refer back to at any time to get a much greater understanding of where we're going.
Very good. Okay, well, let me whiz you through what we're going to do.
Yes, please.
Step by step. Firstly, we're doing this one now, which is the introduction to the course, really just to set the parameters of where we're heading.
Yep.
Next, it's a really important reminder in terms of this, is why are we studying this material? I always regard Feng Shui as something way down the list. It's down here. We start up here with the Tao. The Chinese call it the Tao, Japanese call it Do. It's the way, this is the way. And the way can be, from whatever background we are, what is the source of infinity? Where is this whole thing coming from? So we call it the Tao. Tao can also manifest into Qi. Qi we know is a kind of life force.
Yes.
And then that can also manifest in different variations of Qi, yin and yang, sleepy and awake, fast and slow, hot and cold, these are all there. Then we work into the world of the I Ching. The I Ching will give us the trigrams, very, very, very simple but yet profound understanding of the yin and yang mechanisms of change that date back thousands of years in Chinese prehistory. Take that to a more modern understanding, the 5 elements. And we know those from the introductory point. Now, these are really fundamental to looking at any of these 5 other areas which we could choose to look at. For example, all of these underpin our understanding of Aikido and Judo and Kendo, which are martial arts. And basically, by pursuing and practicing and practicing and practicing Judo or Kendo or Aikido, we start to understand the Do. So this word in Japanese is more like Do, Dio, the way, Tao. So it's like the way of the sword, the way of fighting, the way of martial art. Then we understand the Tao.
Okay.
Here we can apply the healing modality to this. Many people don't realize, I think, that Feng Shui is a form of Chinese healing in itself. And so under the banner I've put here of healing, we've got acupuncture, acupressure and shiatsu. Again, 2 fields I'm very familiar with. The world of herbs. The world of herbs is really a more concentrated version of food. And Chinese medicine and herbs together, moxibustion, instead of putting a needle, they use heat. It's rather like a cigar.
Yeah.
And finally, macrobiotics, something again I studied, which again is to do with food, but not quite herbs. Now, currently, what you're learning here is Feng Shui, both the form school, which is going to be the landscape version, and then the more methodical, mathematical approach of the compass. astrology and timing, be it the I Ching, be it the 9 stars, the flying stars. I'm going to show you too the 4 pillars, which is the Bazi.
Yep.
Then on top of that, you've got the more spiritual aspect of the Tao. Tai Chi Chuan, Zazen meditation, Qigong, any kind of meditation. Or this one, Douyin, which comes from Japan, that I'm a big fan of. And perhaps when people come on the attendance level, I'll show you how that's done. You know, we'll do it in class. It'll wake us all up.
We'll cover the attendance module at the end of this. So let's skip on through then. So John, advanced form school. You taught us about form school, the basics, the tiger, the dragon, the mountain, and the phoenix head. All of those things. What are we going to learn in this?
We're going to take it a little bit further. We're going to reinforce what I've already shown you and just take it up a couple more layers and levels. So it's really important. It always means that it matches quite a big chunk of your own survey when you look at a property.
Because you're saying that form school is still about 60% of the consultation.
Yeah. Seeing what's obvious. Seeing, you know, where do you put a window? Where do you put your bed? Where do you put a desk? All of these things. Does the door open up to the world? I call this form school.
Right.
Not just where is the tiger and the dragon and the phoenix and the mountain in your landscape, but also I regard form as
the internal.
Yeah, where you are. Then, fundamental to all of this is the understanding of the I Ching. 2 layers we'll touch on there. One is the trigrams for your use later on when you pick up the compass. And secondly, we'll actually apply how you ask a question of the I Ching. And it's a kind of form of fortune telling in a way, but it's not. And I'll show you how it's done correctly.
Fantastic.
And then we'll move on to the Bazi. Now the reason we'll bring this in, the 4 pillars, is these Chinese animals and the stems and branches, the yin-yang versions of the 5 elements. They're going to show up on your compass. So this is a big module. You've got to be sharp that morning, Teo.
I will be there. I've seen this report that you did for me back, I think, in 2005. And it's like 120 pages long. So I would imagine there's a fair bit for us to understand in that one.
But I feel very confident we'll get it covered over. And also remember that any Feng Shui expert or master of his own salt, or her own salt, knows this. Yeah, they know this.
We are also incredibly lucky the fact that John has been teaching this for such a long time that it's second nature. And you know, you've just got all this information in your head that
but that's
luckily we've managed to get down on paper thanks to a lovely lady called Jackie as well, who's helped us out enormously in preparing a lot of the work for this course.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that module.
That's it. Next one, number 5, we're going to go and have a look at the Lopan compass and how to use it correctly. So we'll go out and get the Lopan out, we'll show people the rings, show you the rings and how to hold it correctly and how to get the readings off it. That's important. Because you can't do that until you start to then apply it to a floor plan. So we should really go to another site. I think that's what we'll do, is we'll go somewhere else, see you work on another floor plan. You did really well on the introductory course, so we'll test you somewhere else.
I think we're going to a bit of a bigger property this time, so it could take a bit longer.
That's fine, that's fine. I'll be keeping an eye on you. Once we've done that, we can then start to put together proper compass school. Because you can't do that unless you've got a floor plan, you've got a working knowledge of the 24 mountains, you know how to use your Lopan. This is great stuff. Really good stuff. So again, you be sharp that day. Lots to cover that. Then number 8, the flying stars. Now this is a more subtle layer of compass. This is where we look at the time aspect of these stars. What's actually going on in the southeast sector year by year, and also through periods of time, 20-year periods of time. Again, it's a big item, but it's important to remember before you find that more of a head-banging one, don't want to spend long on it, it's only a small section or portion of the importance of Feng Shui.
Yeah.
But it's important to do
I've seen when you've done consultations for me and you've done the flying stars and you go, this is the real way that you tweak it. It's sort of like tuning the motorbike engine to get it to rev optimally.
Yeah, but you've got to have a chassis in the first place.
Yes.
Which is what we're going to cover first. Then we're going to go out on site. Let's find somewhere interesting. Let's find, we'll find somewhere interesting and somebody who lives there too. So we've got some dates of birth. I like to play with dates of birth. We'll have a look at that. Then next, dates of birth important because I'm going to show you 9-star astrology. Sometimes I call it I Ching astrology. It's based on the 9 stars, which is the trigrams, 8 of the trigrams of the I Ching, plus the Tai Chi. Show you how to do that, put together a whole horoscope, if you like. When you look at your stars and where your star is year by year, month by month. And again, what directions to travel.
And this is what you use when I watch your your posts on Facebook.
Yeah.
When you're writing about, you know, sports stars or celebrities or who's about to go into the limelight, who could possibly be going to the limelight for the wrong reasons, all that sort of thing. Yeah, fascinating.
Who you are and where you are. Good stuff. Then I was thinking the other night, let's do a bonus module, something we can give away. It's a question that often comes up, you know, what is clutter? It's a lot of people regard this as an important aspect of Feng Shui. It's not technically Feng Shui, but it does make sense that you should look at what can be holding you back. And so I've got 3 points that I'd like to make on that front.
Okay.
Next, as you know, I've been involved for many, many years on the healing side of this Chinese tradition. And you know, you were saying to me a little bit earlier, why don't you share a little bit about your background with that or how you use it? So we'll work on that. That's a bonus.
That'd be great, thank you.
Yeah. And then this is when we get to the attendance part of the course. So once you've completed all of this means the introduction and all of this, you've got a lot of information there, but you still haven't met the man. So as you know, Teo, you and I have a lot of good conversations off camera. You're luckier compared to people watching us right now that you can come and see me on site. You can actually talk to me off camera and say, but what about this and what about that? So I feel that you can't fully really complete your studies and feel totally confident until you've been on site or met me or gone through some of these other things that cannot literally be taught through an e-learning process. So as far as that is concerned, we mentioned Jackie earlier. We'll mention Jackie to say she'll be able to cover off the geopathic stress and the space clearing and technopathic stress. She's a qualified dowser. Show us all how to do it. It's not my particular bag, and I wouldn't want to blag it that it was.
Right.
I've got a couple of methods that I use that I'd prefer not to share on camera. I'm not going to show you yet, Teo. But again, get me a group of people together who are committed to taking this further, and I'll show you a couple of really interesting methods. I'd like to work on our qi development. I mentioned the douyin, the acupressure.
Yes.
I'll show you some exercises and some pressure points, because when you get on site, sometimes buildings and sometimes people are what I call qi vampires.
Yes.
And you really got to be able to protect yourself and be open yet protective at the same time. I want to show you how to write a report and how best in terms of your integrity and your presentation and how you come across to be a practitioner. I also want to take you out on a site visit.
Fantastic.
So again, we'll do that with the group.
Now this obviously is completely optional. You know, you've paid the money to do the introductory course and to do this advanced course. This is the optional attendance module, and John and I will be putting this information up. And when you registered with us, you will have given us an email address, and we'll be emailing you about these as and when they start to happen. And then you can choose where the nearest one to you would be if you would like to attend.
Yeah.
So John, we're about to go on an even bigger adventure than before. Very excited to do so. So I guess we're moving on then to Advanced Form School.
Advanced Form School.
That's where we're going to start.
Join us now.
We'll see you there.